What up, Pop Dance Live? We're back for another Fab show with special guest Kevin Stea talking about the new documentary he's in, all about the Madonna dancers, 25 years later. It's dropping on Netflix and Logo in just days from now.
Yes, I love me some Kevin.
Yeah.
And we also have a new segment coming at you, Throwback Thursday.
Hashtag TBT.
Yeah, you know it. We're going to hear some funny behind-the-scenes industry stories that you can only get right here. So stick around.
That's right.
A career in dance has never been easy, and those who choose to pursue the art form know the effort, dedication, and sacrifice is enormous. And just like an athlete, the career is comparatively short-lived. The Professional Dancers Society is the entity that bridges the gap of support for professional dancers. They hold an annual fundraiser and donate all proceeds to the Actors Fund, a national organization dedicated to the welfare of entertainment professionals. PDS aims to provide for dancers in need during life's challenges, even through to retirement assistance.
Their 30th anniversary annual fundraiser is coming up on April 23rd at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, where they will be honoring Carol Channing and giving a choreography award to Mandy Moore and Natalie and Karen Willis. In addition, there will be a memoriam tribute to Debbie Reynolds, Florence Henderson, and Mary Tyler Moore. If you would like to attend the fundraiser, donate, or need financial assistance yourself, check out www.popdancelive.com for more details. Now, Carmine, did you know that there is a no dance law in New York City?
What? That is ridiculous. In New York City? I mean, it's one of the most creative cities full of artists. That's crazy.
I know. This law passed in 1926 mainly to crack down on black jazz clubs. It went as far as only allowing specific instruments such as strings, keyboard, and electronic sound system to be played, which eliminated the key instruments for jazz music. Unfortunately, this law is still enforced and only allows 0.01% of the 25,000 clubs in New York City to have a cabaret license and makes it virtually impossible to acquire one.
Fast forward to 2017, Dance Liberation Network and NYC Artist Coalition is having an event, Let NYC Dance, tonight. Yes, it is going to be tonight in Brooklyn at the Market Hotel at 7 p.m. They're hoping to raise awareness and repeal this crazy law. Dancers, let's unite. I'm so bummed I can't be there anymore.
Oh, me too.
But you can help too. Go to www.danceliberationnetwork.com to sign this petition now.
I did.
I know I'm not alone when I say Jade Chenoweth is my favorite dancer, slaying on social media. So when I saw her in Trisha Miranda's combo to Jason Derulo's Swalla-la-la, yeah, you know,
Hey.
I was done. Actually, Trisha has some big news brewing and coming soon, but I know she was super hyped that Jason Derulo posted her class combo on Instagram too. So check out our pop dance pick.
Woo!
Shimmy, 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 yeah, shimmy, yeah. Bad girls gon' swallow, la, la. Bust down on my wrist in it, bitch. My pinky ring bigger than this. Matter how I'm Beverly Hills. Dollar got too many girls. Matter how I'm Beverly Hills. All she wears red bottom heels.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Baxter, and this is my Throwback Thursday. So it was 1992, and my agent, Tim O'Brien, called and said, "How tall are you?" And I said, "I'm 5'6". And he said, "Great, you're gonna go be Meryl Streep's dance-in Death Becomes Her." And it was a movie choreographed by Brad Jeffries over at Universal. And I got to go over and dance in for Meryl Streep, and we called ourselves Cheryl and Meryl. And so when I got there, the other thing they found out was that I was also a singer. So the fun part was I got to go into the recording studio and record this on a tape. It says Death Becomes Her, 1992. And Meryl got to drive around and listen to me sing while she learned it in her car. This is what we used to do in the old days, kids, where you had tapes. So, and the reason I knew she was the nicest woman in the world was because when I handed this to her, she said, "Oh, am I gonna sing to Cheryl? So I'm not singing it myself, I'm just singing to somebody else's voice." Any other star would have been really mad. But they said, no, you're just gonna learn this from this tape from Cheryl. So the funny part about the story is that Meryl and I would meet at the piano every morning with the musical director, and I would sing it with her. And one morning she came in and she was laughing her head off, and she said, "I've been spending the entire last 2 weeks looking for my favorite sweater, looking for my favorite scarf, looking for my favorite coat." And she said, I finally tracked down my kids, and one of them fessed up and said, "Oh, sorry, Mom." He'd been taking her clothes to school and selling them. Buy Meryl Streep's scarf, only $12. Buy Meryl Streep's sweater, only $20. So the moral of the story is give your kids enough lunch money. Bye, that's my Throwback Thursday story. I love Meryl Streep.
Megan, get up. Dancing. Megan. Ramen. Want your biscuits? Megan, you are so gonna be late. Megan, don't forget the steps. Megan, you can't be serious.
That's what I say.
Megan, get up.
Not that, it's fourth position. Downstage right.
Megan, get
Double
up.
ball change. Don't be late.
Megan.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Megan.
Saturday Night Fever is the world's favorite musical.
Megan.
Gene Kelly, you're my idol.
Megan.
Brian Friedman is so fierce. Joe Germain kicks higher than anybody I know.
Megan, get up. Okay. Megan, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh. Okay. Guess I'm up. Ready for rehearsal. I mean, my day? What day is it? I don't. Ew. I just.
Today we are so excited to have this man who is a pioneer, a dancer, a choreographer, an artist, and everything else, right?
He's a legend, a
Yes.
man of all trades. He's been in the industry for quite some time, has probably worked with every artist under the sun. But most recently, he's been on tour with the premiere of his new film, Strike a Pose. Please welcome Kevin Stea!
If I don't applaud for myself, who will?
Yes. We will applaud for you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much
me.
for coming.
Thanks for having me.
We're so excited to just ask you so many gajillion questions about everything. But can we start out with, if you guys don't know, you need to know that this man was on the Blonde Ambition Tour. And then right after that came the Truth or Dare documentary. So that came out right after the tour. But you guys, I saw the movie, Strike a Pose, and you guys were not all fully aware that this was being made. Is that correct?
When Truth or Dare was coming out, and when we were on tour, we were aware that they were filming. Obviously, there were cameras everywhere. But it wasn't until we got to the sort of the end of Europe and in Paris when they started ramping up, like, shooting the actual dance numbers on stage, that we knew they were trying to make it a movie, but they didn't really tell us definitively until we actually just sort of saw it in the press. But yeah, it was always, we're trying to make a movie. Let's try to do. Well, it had never been done before. It wasn't like something that people had seen, and the only examples we had seen were sort of MTV rockumentaries.
Right, right. It was definitely in a time when she was at the peak of her career, and it was sort of a behind-the-scenes look about the dancers, as well as something that hadn't been on the floor before.
Yeah.
You want to share something about that?
Speaking of Madonna, of course, I don't think we've even said her name.
People better know what the
But y'all better
Ambition Tour
know.
was.
Y'all better know.
Yes.
Madonna. Dance history 101.
So I want to ask you about, in a time when not very many people were talking about sexuality, AIDS was kind of coming into the scene, and I think there was a lot of...
Coming into the scene and devastated the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but being sort of more on the forefront, and she really spoke openly about these situations, and Truth or Dare was kind of one of those behind-the-scenes look that nobody had ever seen.
Well, it was groundbreaking, and she really hadn't embraced her gay audience at that point yet. She had a gay following, but not until that moment did it really cement her status as this gay icon. And she hadn't really embraced high fashion. And most of her antics on stage had previously sort of been interpreted as shock value and didn't really have the sort of meaning behind it that this tour gave. I think when people saw this show, thank you, Vincent Patterson, and all of his beautiful work. And Vince Patterson.
Yes.
He transformed what could have just been shock value into a message. And that resonated with people. And I think it resonated for her too. And she finally understood what her messages really were. And that she could package them in a way that was impactful and meaningful, not just shocking. The movie was shocking in ways that I don't think any of us really expected to be shocking. I think we all looked at it with a bit of like, why is this challenging to people? Why are why is that challenging to see two guys kissing? Why is it challenging?
That had never been seen before.
It had never been seen before on film.
On film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely groundbreaking. Now I want to kind of dive into something because we'll get to obviously Strike a Pose is now sort of, 2 decades later and sort of a resolution in the film. But I want to talk about there was a lawsuit that happened that I don't think a lot of people may know what the outcome was. But I think it's really important to talk about it because this is a dance web series and it talks about dancers' rights, and we want to share sort of where we've come in the spectrum of things. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. It became a big scandal, even though it wasn't. The intention was not to make it a big, drag Madonna through the mud sort of moment. We had contracts. Well, half of us, it turns out, had contracts with an agent, with Julie McDonald, who was in LA the only agent at the time. And so half of us had contracts with her, and the other half were New York, and maybe had their own contracts or no contracts, but they didn't have agents to negotiate everything.
So everybody had different contracts across the board.
Across the board. Nobody knew what
crazy.
anyone
That's
else's contract said.
Wow.
I don't know if the guys in New York had twice as much money as me. I had no idea.
Wow.
And I thought they were all the same, so I just assumed, but that was my mistake. But in my contract, it had a clause for a movie. So as they were developing and going along the tour and saying, oh, we're trying to make a movie, well, that wasn't an issue for us because we thought, well, if it's a movie, our contract kicks in and we get this amount that's already predetermined. Ta-da, yay, done deal. Well, when it came out and it was chosen to be a movie and it was being released and everything, their lawyers are not responding.
Wow.
At all. They just wouldn't talk about it, and they kept sending us release forms to sign, to like sign away our rights. And I think on one of the checks, on the back, it had said like for other projects. And it's like,
No.
what is she talking about? What is their management talking about?
On
really?
a check?
On the check.
On the back of a check.
On the back of a check.
Wow, that's.
So they're trying to sneak it by. Management was. I can't say that she was. Management was. And in the end, it was just like, it was a choice of, well, just deal with it or stand up for my rights. And in listening to her and being the person that she kept inspiring me to be outspoken and to have faith in myself and to be strong, I felt to follow in line with that and have the most integrity around that would be to actually go for my money and file a lawsuit. And I did.
That's really something I think to be said because these days dancers, a lot of people are just trying to kind of get into the industry and they don't really have a voice because they just want to get in and maybe get the credit. So they'll do a job or a gig for free. And a lot of times it's like all this stuff, all these years that everybody's been fighting for with Dancers Alliance, now that we have even a Dancers Alliance, somebody can come in and literally, if they don't have their voice and they don't speak up or stand for what they know is right or contractually correct, everybody loses.
It got very convoluted and it's not an easy thing. And I wouldn't say that everybody should do what I did, although I would hope that everyone would. But I had to be willing to give up ever dancing again.
Wow.
Because I didn't know if I was going to be blacklisted, if other artists were going to look at me and say, oh, he's too much of a risk.
Right.
And I know other dancers go through this all the time. Like, it's my name on the block. If I sue this movie or this production company, or if I stand up for myself, I'll get blacklisted by them. I'll never work for them again. I'll never work for this choreographer again. It's a terrible position to be put into.
Right.
Were you?
Was I? No. Surprisingly, I mean, of course, I've worked my ass off for 30 years now, but like, even more importantly than was I not, was that like Michael Jackson, Cher, other people came up to me and said, Kevin, good job.
Wow.
Good job. I'm so proud of you. Good for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a
good for
good
you.
story.
I was
right
like,
there.
wow,
Yes.
like have faith in yourself because
Yeah.
people do understand what is right or wrong.
Yeah.
And there will be people on your side. And if you have integrity around yourself and your work and your profession, like the entire community benefits. And I've been able to speak on behalf of dancers for the past 25 years, mainly because I've had that experience.
Great.
And I've been able to say, look, this has happened to me before. I'm involved and engaged in creating a situation where we can all get along and that it's right for all sides.
Right.
But this has happened before, so let's talk about it clearly and openly and come to a resolution.
Thank you. I think Dancers Alliance. I don't think people take advantage of that and go to the meetings and really hear people speak and really discuss. And I appreciate you fighting for that because you come from experience and you've been there. You've been in that front line. So, you know, dancers, please go check out Dancers Alliance meetings, fight for your right, and
Know your rights.
Know your
Know your
rights.
rights.
Yeah.
And really believe in yourself and fight. Fight the way he fought.
Which leads us to Strike a Pose.
Strike a pose.
Because I feel like we've seen the film and it was just such a beautiful reconciliation of like, you know, the journey. I mean, you guys were so young, obviously, when everybody was on tour. When Truth or Dare came out, it was just at a time when it was groundbreaking. And then fast forward to how it's impacted your life now and who you are and sort of who you've become. So can you tell us what that's been like? Because
Sure.
I love the film. So.
Wait, actually, before we jump in,
Yeah.
how did this film come about?
Strike a Pose?
Yes.
Well, Strike a Pose, these two Dutch filmmakers, well, one is a journalist. He actually had this experience when he was like 11 or something. He went to go see Truth or Dare in the theaters. And he came out wanting to see it again and again and again. And his experience over the course of his life, he's now a gay man, and he realized that that movie gave him this experience of being free, more free to be himself, whoever he wanted to be, whatever that was, or whatever what he wanted to be.
Right.
And so he wanted to know what happened to us, because it was specifically us, the dancers, that had that impact on him, because there was no representation at the time of gay people on camera or in the media, and so that was all he saw. But it was like a window and a glimpse into something hopeful, that there was a space and a community and a tribe for him where he could be safe and supported. I think that's also why Madonna became the sort of like surrogate mother for every gay man in the world. But he saw that and started asking the question, where are these guys? Wow. He brought up the idea to a filmmaker who made other docs, Esther Gould, and she had the exact same experience as a straight woman. So they started asking all their friends, and they all had the same exact experience. And they were like, it wasn't about her, it was about what the guys represented at the time. So they started stalking us.
On Facebook or
That's all I can say,
social
really, is
media.
stalking us on social media for a couple of years, honestly, following to see what our stories were. And then they reached out to us just to see if we would be involved. And they emailed us and Facebooked us and said, we're coming to LA in like 3 months and we want to meet with you. Here's the date. And it was like, okay, whatever, sure. You know, I was like, if they show up. Well, they were there on that date. They showed up, they were their word. They were the most amazing, beautiful people in person.
Wow.
So sweet and so clear that the story wasn't particularly about her, but about our story.
Right.
And sort of what happened to us and with us.
Well, that's something that I was honestly going into it. I was a little afraid because to entrust somebody with your stories could have been not good, let's just say.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just so beautifully done. You really got the sense that they cared about you and about your stories, and they did a beautiful job. So
Thank you. They really showed us with a lot of compassion and kindness and humanity, more than I could have even asked for. I felt like it was like this most generous gift ever. Somebody called it, I think in Amsterdam, said it was a perfect love song, and it's like such a wonderful way to describe it, because it is a love song to us, for each other, and it's transformed our lives and how we viewed the tour. You know, I left it behind, especially with the lawsuit and all the drama around that. I got really in a dark space around it for a long time. And I took it off my resume, I didn't talk about it, I wouldn't talk about her. But of course, everybody's coming to me to talk about her all the time. So I can only escape so much.
Right.
what I thought was so beautiful about the film is that there was this sort of resolution, and you guys were able to come together and share your stories and see how they were all really parallel. And I mean, how was that? Like seeing everybody after all that time and.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you don't know what Strike a Pose follows the six of us that are still alive in the years that have passed, like kind of our experience of the tour, what happened right after, and then where we are now. And we hadn't seen each other in all those years.
That's crazy.
Like I don't think Carlton hadn't seen like Oliver, Jose, and Salim in 25 years.
So you guys all just naturally had drifted.
Well, there was no social media, there was no cell phones, there was no email, there was no way to contact people unless you had their information with you. And we all moved around a million times, and we were on different coasts. And you think, you know, when you're so close to somebody, you think instantly you're going to see them next week. And when there wasn't a break at that point. You know, there was the lawsuit hadn't happened yet. So, you know, we were just like, okay, bye. Thinking, oh, we'll see each other next month or next week or the next gig, whatever we do. And then the lawsuit happened. She told the guys not to talk to us.
Oh, wow.
We were then out of favor. Carlton stayed in with them and went on tour again. But like, we all kind of just went our separate ways. And Gabriel passed away, and he was the one I was closest to. Oliver moved to Vegas. You know, the other guys are in New York, and Carlton and I didn't get along at the time. I love Carlton now.
I love Carlton.
He's my spirit animal.
I love each and every one of you guys in your own individual, beautiful way. You've represented so many different energies. I mean, Oliver was the only straight one, right, on tour.
Yeah.
But his story was profound because his whole perspective on homosexuality completely changed. He was crying most of the time, you know, it was just beautiful to see that somebody, you know, could have such a change of heart, and from prior to judging or what he thought of homosexuality to really getting to know you guys. And I mean, it was such a defining moment, I think, for a dancer too, because everybody can relate to that story. I even relate to it, you know, being on tour at the height of your adrenaline, you're just like, ah, and then it changes, and there's sort of like a come down that you have to kind of deal with. And what was beautiful is to see each and every one of you kind of have this new blossoming of a reveal of the person that you really are. And
well, we've had 25 years to sit and think about ourselves and our lives and the time we had together, and reflect and look on if it was real, what it meant to us, what these boys mean to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it was extraordinary to come back together after 25 years and sit at that table, and suddenly we're the same kids we were 25 years ago, but with all this wisdom.
Yes.
Like, we're the same characters, we're the same crazy people, but we have all this wisdom behind, and the wherewithal and knowledge, maybe partly because of Esther and Ryer bringing us into that space, the knowledge and awareness to be grateful for each other, and to be able to have the opportunity to say that to each other, how much we love each other and mean to each other.
I cried.
I'm gonna cry.
I cried during that scene.
I did too.
Yeah.
It was so emotional. It was really an
It's a
emotional
lot.
film.
Yeah.
I mean, and now you guys are on tour. You're living the dream again. I mean,
Well, it's not exactly a tour, but like festivals and
Premiere.
theaters have been inviting us places. And if you want to invite us, www.strikeoposefilm.com. Please invite us anywhere. Actually, we do love traveling. You know, I want to go to Australia. Anyone?
What is next? What is next for Strike a Pose?
Strike a Pose, well, it's in theaters right now in various little moments and spots, like Mexico City and London, and I think it's on TV in Australia in like soon, or just after this is airing. We are on Logo on April 6th. Yay! So check us out on Logo. If you don't get Logo, we are available on Netflix April 9th.
yes.
So then share around,
You guys,
share around.
it's a must-see. Strike
Yeah.
a Pose. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Yes, double. Yay.
I love it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another awesome episode of Pop Dance Life. Thank you again to our amazing guest, Kevin Stea. Make sure you go check out that documentary, Strike a Pose, coming soon and streaming now on Logo and Netflix.
That's right. And thank you, Cheryl Baxter, for sharing with us an awesome story. I can't wait for more stories, right?
I love Throwback Thursdays. Who doesn't?
Boop, boop. Thank you.
You guys, as usual, check us out on www.popdancelife.com. Make sure to like,
Adore,
follow,
love,
and comment so we know what you guys want.
what you really want.
Megan. Nobody puts baby in a corner. Megan!